everybody. Welcome to Felicitations, a live podcast I do occasionally on Twitch, occasionally just a podcast. Who knows? No self-discipline. That is me. Hi, I'm really happy for a lot of you to be here. We have a real treat, and it's going to be a redhead sandwich night because one of my very favorite people, and I'm sure yours too, is going to join me shortly. And we are going to gab about all things hair, all things redhead, and probably many other things, because that's going to be like maybe one or two questions. So please give it up for Ruth Connell.
Hi.
Hi, my lovely.
How are you?
I'm good. Now, right before we started streaming, what did you just put in your mouth? I'm so sorry. What was that?
I just wanted to start as I was going to continue. It's my new thing. It's a salt pipe.
What?
It's
salt? What?
It's a pipe of salt, Himalayan sea salt, and apparently it's good for your throat and lungs and everything else. And I need all the help I can get right now. So you shake it, and it stirs up the dust, and then you inhale it, and you don't get high. You just get salt.
It's just salt. So it's salt dust or salt air?
Yeah, a little bit. And it's got like you've got your Himalayan sea salt, maybe a bit of iodine, like good stuff.
So if you're a ghost, you're going to die if you do that, though, right? Because ghosts are allergic to salt, or
I don't know if they find it easy to hold them or pick them up. I'm not sure how ghosts do.
True. Poltergeists could, but then they'd probably
they're a bit more manic, poltergeists. They're maybe not much into the self-care.
You would not want. They're not into self-care, poltergeists. So what kind of mythological creature would be into self-care, Ruth, in your opinion?
Oh, that's such a good question. You know, I'm reading a book just now, and I don't know how you say it. Is it Circe or Circe? You know about
Circe.
Yeah.
That book is so good.
It's so good, isn't it? And like the Minotaur, you've got all these ancient, so maybe not supernatural things, but kind of like demigods. And I feel like maybe she might have a puff an old salt pipe.
She feels like Circe lives on an island alone with all the men who have tried to screw her over, murder her, or assault her, that she turned into pigs.
Swine.
And she also tamed lions and tigers and other beasts. And
swine into swine.
Swine to swine. So I'm pretty sure, I think she will probably do some salt vaping, probably some salt scrubs.
Yeah, because she does all the herbs and everything, all the magic.
Yeah.
And I'm like, she's the OG witch. And it's not why somebody gave me the book. I didn't buy it. And I'm like, oh my God, this has to be a series or something.
It's wonderful. So I'm sure somebody will try to turn it into a movie, but screw it up, or it will never get made. She has another book about the Song of Achilles that I have not yet read that I want to read as well. Because I'm obsessed with Greek mythology. I don't know how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I love it. So I did Latin at high school. And just loved the classics. And so it's like through this book, you sort of hear all the stories you've kind of heard before, but it's in how it kind of intertwines with her life. So the Minotaur, you know, how it's sort of her half brother, really, isn't it? And
yeah, I guess so.
It's sort of, you hear all the stories that you've heard the names of, or you kind of have an idea about Odysseus or whoever, and then it contextualizes it really well and in a really human way, a human demigod way, or whatever you want to say. I think
she humanizes a character that was just kind of a villain in the original Iliad or the Odyssey.
Right.
Could you say the word herb again?
Herb.
Can you say the word minotaur again?
Minotaur.
Oh, it's so beautiful. I love you. Now, tell us what's wrong. What is wrong with your throat? I almost was like, get out of here. I don't want you to talk for an hour, but we are going to promptly end it in an hour. No. Tell me what's going on with your voice.
A couple of things have happened. One was that I had a healthy snack before coming on here. So I had a handful of nuts, and I was eating them while still roaming about the house, and maybe inhaled a little bit and coughed for maybe, I was about 5 minutes late, I think.
Oh no!
So I coughed a lot. But before that, I had.
Was it an almond? What kind? Was it a mixed nut? What kind of nuts were trying to attack you?
I got some lightly salted almonds. They're lightly salted, so you feel a bit better about yourself. And half pecans and walnuts, a mixture of those. And that was me being healthy, and I've been punished straight away by the gods.
I I know. Well,
Like, oh,
it's a dry snack. It's a very dry snack, and then you're inhaling more salt. Are you actually just desiccate? You know, they would put dead bodies in salt to sort of desiccate them and get all the moisture out of the body. So, are you sure that maybe all the salt on your throat is
oh,
good?
somebody told me to do it because I've had laryngitis, like full. I used to get tonsillitis, and this isn't a fact, a Ruth fact. I got my tonsils out when I was 30, when you're not supposed to. And
no, you're not supposed to because you need them, right? Well, your old people need them.
Yeah, but also it's really painful because when you're a kid, you don't have as much awareness and you heal faster. But anyway, it was really, it stopped me getting tonsillitis. And even with the worst tonsillitis, I never lost my voice. I could always still speak. I literally not being able to make a sound is the most bizarre thing. And it was at a time when I really needed to advocate for myself and talk to a lot of people. So this is week 3 of recovery. I'm still, I feel like I've got my Elena Huffman on.
I know she has that raspy, sexy voice. It's like, I don't know if you're in LA right now, but I could feel a lot of rasp in my own voice. So I think there's something additionally in the air right now.
The smoke,
other than nuts attacking me from the inside out or salt.
But yeah, I know I left Elena a voicemail and I was like, hi, I'm giving you a run for your money. And she was like, she sent me one back and she's like, that is the funniest voicemail you've ever sent me. Because I was like, I'm hoarser than you.
I need to catch up with her because I know that she directed her first short, and I want to hear all about her experience. And I just want to.
Great. It went great. I'm so proud of her.
She's incredible.
She is, and she does what she says she's going to do. You know, like you. And she, you know, I was there on set. She was shadowing an episode I was in of Supernatural. And, you know, and I think, you know, Richard Speight was the one that said to her, you just have to actually just pick up the camera and shoot something, you know. And so she put her own money behind it.
Amazing.
Got some good people in it, and the storyline's good, and her daughter's in it. I hope not say it. I'm not spoilers.
Oh, it's okay. But her daughter is, she is a phenomenon. And then on top of that, she has a phenomenal family as well, which I love.
I know.
Y'all, we are going to take a couple questions from chat.
Oh, yeah.
So put them in the chat, but we're going to only do it at the very end because honestly, we have a lot to talk about, Ruth. I have not seen you in so long, and I really miss hanging with you. And I want an opportunity to be just in your space. But are you traveling? What's in the world of Ruth right now?
The world of Ruth right now is I just had a closet refitted and sort of doing home stuff, but going to my first convention this weekend. And I was going to ask your advice because you just did one.
Where are you going?
I'm going to Pittsburgh to Memento. And yeah, I'm intrigued to see, you know, how safely it can be done.
Well, I will tell you that it's different. And it's not, I would say, okay, so I don't know, do you know what their COVID policy is for people? Do they require vaccinations, or are they just wearing masks or no masks? What is it? Because that's really the most important thing to ask. What's your
COVID policy? I think it's what Nisha, I think like, I think it's sort of, what was it, the last one he did. I know I'm doing Birmingham that I'm really excited about going to, and I know Sean is different in the UK, different from state to state, obviously, what you can and can't ask people. And I know in Birmingham, it's everyone's vaccinated. I think they're going to a temperature test, plexiglass, masks. You know, I think they're going all out, and I feel really good about that.
Yeah. That's like the most important thing. Like, I'm going to Dragon Con this weekend.
Wow.
And I'm very, yes, I know that if you've ever been to Dragon Con, you know, it's like the most mazy, compact, fun con, but also fun because it's so crowded. But the wonderful thing is that they are requiring vaccinations or negative COVID tests. They are requiring masks at all times. They do have plexiglass, and they are reducing the capacity, especially in the autograph hall, by 50%.
Wow.
So I feel like they're doing everything they possibly can. Now, is that going to take away people's fun? I think it's just that you just have to embrace the fact that if you want to go to a con, it's going to be different. And you're not going to have what you used to have, but you will have a different experience. And what was wonderful is that every single fan was totally cool with it and very respectful of everybody's comfort level and things like that, especially since I have a baby. I can't get her vaccinated, so I don't want to bring home anything to her. And that's what I feel like you get a little weird because have you even been near people in a year?
So no, really, not really. And I've become much more of a hermit. And
I think we all have.
Yeah, I did go to the UK and I did the quarantine and I did everything properly. And LAX was like in a futuristic movie, deserted. It was bizarre, you know, at the end of last year. I have been trying to think what I've done. Yeah, I mean, I've been to the odd restaurant, but still outside and everything. And this is a big, like, it does feel like a bit of a leap off of a cliff this weekend. Just like, oh, do I still have the stamina?
I will tell you, do you know what it is? I didn't feel, okay, I felt really old after the con because I was there for 3 days and I was so tired at the end of each night. And then I realized it's because it requires a lot more energy to get through your mask.
Yeah.
And you can't really hear across the plexiglass. So inevitably you're just going to be like, hey, what's up? You're going around the plexiglass.
I know.
So, but just being able to communicate and feel like you're a caring individual, really connecting with people through a mask.
I know.
There's a lot more like voice. So you're going to lose your voice by the end. It's not good right now, Ruth. I'm worried for you.
I know. No, it's that thing. It's that thing that you're talking about with the eyes, though, where I feel like I'm walking along the street and I'm like, hi, I'm non-threatening. Like
exactly. Like I want to smile at somebody, but I'm not. They can't see it. Do I look like a friendly person? I can't.
I know. You know, at the last Dragon Con though, that was the last crazy con I did. There was 40,000 people, and talking about stamina. I think I was filming. I got off of the red eye. I got in at 3 a.m. I couldn't find my hotel room. Was on the floor by 9 and still had a lot of fun. Wow. So I'm thinking, I'm hoping this one will be tamer for you anyway, I'm sure. But it's so fun with all the costumes there and everything. People really go for it. And
man, Dragon Con is my favorite because it is run by fans. So there's nothing corporate about it at all. Even like the Maker Hall or, you know, all the exhibits and all the booths and stuff are all indie. And then Ruth, I got to tell you, do I look like a partier? You've known me for years. Am I a partier?
I mean, like, maybe a sort of little curmudgeonly.
Yeah, curmudgeonly.
That was your word that you told me when I first met you. You said that. So.
I did it. You know what? Kim Rhodes last weekend at Kansas City told me, Felicia, you're an 80-year-old grandma with the liveliest, beautiful spirit. I'm like, thank you. Aww. It was the sweetest compliment. I don't think that was actually what she said, but you have an 80-year-old grandma spirit with a joy in your heart or something like that. I am not. Okay, Felicia is a party animal. Thank you. But I will tell you, the craziest I've ever gotten in my life was at Dragon Con and Comic-Con a little bit, but that's a little bit different. Like I was just drinking more heavily than I probably should and dancing with more exuberance than I should have at parties at Comic-Con. Dragon Con, I mean, it's weird. And also the fun thing about it is that the rest of my cast, the guild, went on the off year that I didn't. So it was Sandeep and Jeff and Vince and Sean Becker. And I was getting photos from fans telling me, hey, you need to come get your cast. At 5 a.m, they were on the floor in a furry pylon. I was like, what is going on there?
You just reminded me the first time I really met you was on a dance floor with our shoes off at the 200th party. And you were a party animal then. So you've not changed in my eyes. You just are a party animal, actually.
I mean, any opportunity to dance, because God forbid I go out of my house when I'm in my house. You know, if it's dark outside, I'm not leaving my house. That just feels foolish. But yeah, I have had some I don't think I'd ever do it again. Well, the fun part about Dragon Con is, and I'm sure they're not going to allow this now, is that Dragon Con is a bunch of hotels that are connected by walkways, right? And so you don't actually have to go out of the hotel to see the con. And then everybody after about 11 p.m. or 10 or 11 p.m. is drinking and making merry and modeling their cosplay all around the front of the hotels and in the bars of the hotels. And you could literally see some of the best costumes you've ever seen in your life at the hotel bars. And so I would just put a mask on and until 2, 3 in the morning, go out and look at costumes. Yeah. And I assume that's not going to happen this year.
Yeah, you've reminded me that one of my memories of it is being in these glass elevators and you're really squeezed in with people in all their costumes and everything. And it's just, it's the only time you're ever in an elevator with a koala and Superman at the same time. Or
it's true. And you know what? That's a threesome that you need to talk about later.
Did I just conjure something from my? Did I let something out there? Like, koalas.
So what is the most strange thing that you've done at a con? Not like a fan, but like what is the funnest, craziest thing you've had at a con?
I'll tell you, it was the most like questionable thing I've done at a con, and it was quite early on. It was Vancouver, and Erica, Carol, and I were dressed up as Thelma and Louise for the karaoke, and I was the Susan Sarandon one, so I felt like inadequate in the boob area, so I had padded my boobs with 2 flannels from the bathroom, from the hotel bathroom. So I had flannels, and at one point in gay abandon, like having this crazy time, I had whiskey in my hip flask, and Eric and I were having such a laugh. I pulled one of them out and like I swung it around my head and threw like threw my face cloths from the bathroom into the audience that had been stuck inside my
what?
I mean, that was how it started, and it's gone downhill since then, pretty much.
So you threw your boob towels into the audience?
I threw my boob towels into the audience, and people grabbed them. I don't know, somebody out there has them.
Did they charge you at the hotel, or they're just like, well, she used them on her
boobs? I don't know. I didn't pick up the tab. So hopefully not. Hopefully Creation are not still after me for $7 or whatever it would be. I don't. It was worth it.
That's why I love conventions. You never do what you're going to do, and we have as much fun at them as anybody else. And honestly, even though Kansas City was not like it wasn't like a party one. I had such a great time meeting people and getting out of my house. And after the first day of germophobia,
yes,
because you do feel like, and I haven't been close to anybody. Even when I see friends, I hug them from afar. So, but you have someone crying in front of you because they've had a hard time, or they love your character and they want to share that with you. Yeah. I can't help but hug them. But then I'm like, what are you doing? What do you stop it? Stop hugging the strange. Stop it, Felicia. You can feel their warmth. Get away. Step away from them.
I know. And I feel it's so hard. It's like there has to be a blanket rule, just like you can't or something, because otherwise you're just too hard.
It wasn't her fault. It was my fault. I just wanted to comfort this adorable. And I'm like, what am I doing? I do that with my friends. I'm like, I can't hug you. Just there needs to be 2-3 feet between us.
But that's why we're going, because I know there's something to be said for not going and not encouraging people to convene. But if we can do it safely as possible, human beings need that.
Yeah,
I think
no, but I did feel invigorated, because I feel the same way. Like, I don't know about you, but again, the hermit thing is strong with me, and I never want to leave my house. And
hermit strong.
Hermit. I need that shirt. We should make that a shirt, Ruth. Hermit strong. And we kind of have tailor-made. I mean, I even clean my drawers out, and I have like organizers in it. Like, I don't need to leave this house. Everything's organized. So
it looks beautiful behind you. This is the extension you did. It looks gorgeous.
This is my new office. Oh, it's not new, but it's like since like January. I redid it. Yeah, it's perfect. I have a sound booth over here, writing desk, games, adult toys. Do you collect anything, Ruth?
Shoes.
Oh, good. You have the hottest shoe collection. I have never seen you not in a hot, because you're just a wee lass.
Yeah, I have to have the high shoes.
Yeah,
the shoesies. And I just redid the closet, and I have so many racks to fit all of my shoes.
Now, what is this redoing the closet situation? Did you hire somebody to do it, or
I paid too much money, and I probably could have done it myself and designed it and everything. And I did help design it, but we just got a company in, and it's not cheap. But
it's not cheap. It was the Container Store or something, or California Closets.
California Closets.
Oh, you went Rolls Royce of your closet.
I know, and what I kept saying was, resale value, like resale value.
But Ruth, all you have to do is take some pictures and post it on social media, and then deduct it. Just tag them. Say you're just improving your social media profile.
I never thought of that. Oh, this is why we need to talk more often.
So how beautiful is it? Because I want a picture. Does it have drawers? Like, how describe this to me? Is it like are the shoes going vertical? Like, what's going on?
So it's more practical than that, more practical than sexy, really. And I didn't choose the color of the wood. I think closets should be paler wood to make them as light as possible.
Yes.
Put your lights in and an outdoor switch. But it's the dark wood, which is fine. But it's basically, I measured the height of most of my shoes, and that we've got as many gaps as you can possibly fit in a whole section. So I can probably fit maybe 100 pairs of shoes.
What? What? 100 pairs of shoes, Ruth? What?
You asked me what I collected.
I mean, that's a what? Wait, how do
easy.
you?
Easy.
How? Oh my God.
The thing is, I keep things, I look after things. I just had to give away, I had to clear out so many clothes. I did have to make room, and I cleared away so many items. I have things from when I was a teenager that still, you know, and I love my clothes. They're like costumes to make me feel a different way in a day. And so I did have a massive clear out. Lots of my friends got lots of my stuff. And charity stores.
So how did you do that? Did you do the Marie Kondo thing where you do piles and you're like, I love.
Yeah.
I don't love.
I didn't know it was Marie Kondo, but I went through, it took maybe 3 attempts. I did a sweep, like things that you just know. Let's come on. Come on now. You've never worn that. Yeah. I did that one first. And then, you know what, as I'm getting older, Felicia, a lot of it I realized was down to the fabrics now. Like I like nice fabrics, and
I know.
And even if it's I don't want to feel uncomfortable.
No,
so old.
No, there's nothing. I'm a kind of a fabric stom now too. I think you just want to spend a little bit more on a piece that you know is going to be good after you wash it twice, because believe me, I have so many Topshop tops that I'm like, it's great. Now it's paper, or I'll just wash it and then it's like, here it was here and now it's up to here, you know. It's like, you know, it's just so it shrinks. So then it's just like, well, I bought a disposable shirt.
I think that's what happened to my Topshop jeans, because I think they must have shrunk. It's not me. It's not COVID, the 5 pounds. It's not that. They've shrunk. It's because they're Topshop. They shrunk. Thanks for clearing that up for me, because I had to give those away. My treasured black Topshop jeans.
Yeah, I went up a size, and you know, I had the frame. Have you ever had frame jeans? They're my favorite brand.
I've heard of them. I've never had a pair.
They're my favorite jeans. They're my favorite jeans, but they don't fit me anymore. They are, and I was like, you know, I don't even think these are 5 pounds attainable. I don't know what happened, but I think my hips just went COVID.
And I'm sitting all the time.
It's true.
Yeah, this is another an old wives' tale. Really, like I have a sore hip I've never sat down so much, and apparently from all my years of dancing back in my hip, blah blah blah. I'm like, now I can feel it, and it's too much time on the sofa. I mean, I've seen a lot of great television.
Is that what you've been kind of filling your time with? Because you other than closet design, because you seem to me the kind of person who would actually have done something productive during COVID. Like I learned French, or I got a Pilates machine and now I'm certified. You know, like, so I feel like you would be that person.
I seem like that, don't I? I put on a good front. I've done a lot of stuff with my house and gardening. I've done a lot of stuff like that. With the closet thing, honestly, that's been a mission. I've done a lot of health stuff.
Oh, like what? Wait a minute. I want to highlight. This is for the podcast people. I want to just highlight Cleves Mill. Rag and Bone and AG are wonderful jeans. Cleves Mill, I met you last week in Kansas City. No offense, but you don't seem like a dude who knew that those are, in fact, 2 of the best brands of jeans. Okay? Do you own some of these? We're going to talk later, Cleves Mill. You're absolutely right. Those 2 are excellent brands. Okay, so tell me about the self-improvement.
Oh God. I mean, it started off, I think last time I spoke to you, I'd grown my eyebrows in. I mean, I've done everything. So that I'm not being serious, but no, I decided I wanted to feel better. And I just was, you know, I would have the strong coffee in the morning and, you know, all that stuff that you just do. And I was like, I don't think this is good for me. And sort of, honestly, it's such a boring subject. Like,
No, it isn't. It isn't, because this is important, because especially when we're coming out of this sort of mass trauma together, we should
Yeah.
all kind of learn from each other. What did you learn and what did you focus
Okay.
on when you had the time for yourself?
Yeah, I learned that, in fact, all the pushing I was doing on my body, like we were traveling so much and drinking so much coffee and doing the whole thing and, drinking the whiskey and everything else, you do have to look after yourself. And I had to do hypnotherapy. I did hypnotherapy for 28 days. I listened to a tape to help me because I know, see, if you tell me I can't do something, like the pendulum swings the other day, I've got a real inner rebel. And so I was like, I know before I start this, if I want to really do this, I don't have to fight myself. So I did hypnotherapy with a woman called Becca Tears, who was fantastic.
Wow.
And
And was it like therapy, like you were, because I did hypnotherapy when I first, because I was having such transition anxiety when I first moved to town. It didn't really help, but it was really about like shutting the door on the people who criticize you. I love you, but I can't talk to you when I'm in this work. Like it was like that.
yeah,
So it was very,
she,
yeah.
this is quite therapeutic. She does a whole session where she gets to the nub of why this thing might be difficult for you, and then makes a recording for you. It's personalized to you, and then it's up to you to listen to it. She checks in on you, and then she tweaked the recording because my monkey mind's so like, get stuck on things. And it took, there'd be some days one of my friends would call, and it's like they say, you've had a baby. They say when you're pregnant, everybody's pregnant. I was giving up coffee and tea, and I felt like all I was seeing was people drinking coffee and tea, like every TV show, all my friends, that's all everybody was doing, and it was painful. But I swear, I don't think about it anymore. I've had no caffeine for 4 months.
Wow.
And I had one cocktail and a dinner, and I was hammered. I was hammered, and it was awesome. And I don't miss that so much. The final frontier for me, though, and I don't know if I even want to touch it, is the chocolate. I'm still not ready to abandon everything.
I'm writing my newsletter this week, and it's all about trying to improve my sleep. And then I don't want to
Tell me
spoil
about
it,
it.
but I got to tell you, number one is caffeine, sugar, and chocolate. You got to go out the door if you really also really want to be able to sleep well. And I don't know if it's an age thing or what, because I certainly was just mainlining lattes at a younger age. I just want to also just shout out to the listeners that Cleves Mill did say that he has a pair of rag and bone jeans. So
ooh, fancy.
I have more fashionable viewers than I thought. I'm so sorry to have judged anybody's designer jeans at all. For me, jeans are the number one investment I need. Like I will spend a fortune on jeans, but I will spend $100 on a dress because I'm going to wear those jeans every day. The amortization of it is much more justified than a dress. So anyway, I've never heard of rag and bone jeans until this stream. Thanks to Cleves Mill. So now now all of you need to get some rag and bone or AG or maybe frame. Anyway.
Frame sounds good. Frame sounds good.
So how long did it take with the hypnotic tapes for you to unhinge from your caffeine addiction?
It was, first of all, you physically, you don't need it. And I went down to half calf, decaf, but it's so acidic, coffee, and also high in histamine, and that's a thing. And I was putting like collagen in my coffee, thinking I'm so LA, so healthy, in my bulletproof coffee, but it's super high in histamine, and that doesn't do well with me. And so I had to wean down. I was chewing my own fists at times. And I ordered this mushroom coffee as a substitute because I was like,
how is that
something? I never drank it. I ordered it. I've got it in the cupboard. It'll go off and I'll throw it out in a year.
Yeah. Do you know what I have every morning now that I've given up? Because I even have a latte machine, and I've gotten decaf coffee that has no caffeine. Because the problem is if you do the decaf thing, and like once a week I would treat myself to a decaf latte at Blue Bottle or one of these fancy coffee shops. There is no standard with which, whether it's really decaffeinated or just kind of decaffeinated. And I would be like, woo! And I wouldn't sleep that night. And I was like, okay, Felicia, you can't do this. But I did order some special like water drip decaf that really does not have caffeine in it. And I could have the occasional latte made at my house. But other than that, I only have Tulsi holy basil in the morning, and actually it's pretty good.
Yeah, I love the Tulsi. I've got so many teas, and I'm now mixing teas. I am turning into Circe. I'm mixing teas. Fennel. I crushed fennel seeds this morning, and I put in some manuka honey, and you can do yourself so much good. Marshmallow root and all that. And so yeah, the self-care thing is gone up, but it's tiring. It's a lot of work. So it's not cheap either to do it all, I have to say.
And so it isn't. And so what motivated you? You just felt like your body was not being treated.
I'll tell you what motivated me, and it's a good segue. Thank you for asking. I was filming, and I was filming something that's going to be airing in September, and I was running about a field in high heels at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, my stomach was sore. I'd eaten whatever was in the crafty, and it hadn't agreed with my stomach. And I was like, you know what? I want to be really great at my job. I don't want to feel like this at work. I want to be running across this field in my high heels, you know, not thinking I've got a sore stomach.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah. And so it's been a bit of a deep dive, and it's a work in progress. And stress is a big factor, and I don't know how to not do that. Like, and I've actually meditated for maybe like 4 days in a row now, which is a new thing.
Applause. That's hard.
God, it's hard. It's hard, and I'm deeply trying. I talked to my, you know, our bodies are made of like something like 300 million sentient cells, and if you say, "Hello, girls," like you can feel them respond, and like you can sort of genuinely be like, oh, I've not been so nice, I need to be nicer to you, and you know, so it's all that. Well, that's what I've been doing. But yeah, so I was filming, that's fine. I want to feel better.
I mean, so you were doing it for your art and for your work,
and
just
then
for you,
for myself. Yeah.
I think that's so powerful, because I mean, I realized after having a kid that I never take care of myself the way I would take care of my kid, right? And you know, in a lot of ways we don't give ourselves that pat on the back. We don't look out for our own needs. We don't anticipate problems and then head them off with our judgment the way that we would for other people. And I'm like, why?
Yeah, we don't have snacks for ourselves. You'd never go out without snacks, right? But we go out with ourselves, and you end up eating something that's not really great. And
a lot of it is almost peer pressure, because with the coffee thing, you just want to be around people. Like going to a bar and not drinking is the most, it feels to you like if you're with a good crowd, nobody's going to pressure you about it. If you're with a slightly like rowdy crowd, you're going to get some pressure. You're going to be made fun of a little bit. And even as an adult, that's really hard. And also cocktails are yummy. And getting a little bit tipsy is sometimes pleasant.
And it is. And you know what? I did order a drink. I was out for dinner, and I did order a cocktail, and I tasted it, and it wasn't very nice. And I was like, I'm not putting that in. And in the past, I probably just would have sort of, but I'm like, if I'm going to drink a glass of wine, I've got my sulfite wand now because I'm intolerant to the sulfites. But I want to drink a really nice glass of wine. And not just,
Yeah, well, if you're going to do it, if you're going to pollute your body, just be like, I need to put the best
and
best in me, you know?
Yeah, and I think whiskey can be spiritual, literally. I don't have a problem with it, but I just was like, I need to rebalance a lot.
Yeah.
If I want to be at my optimum, like J-Lo or someone, you know.
I mean, J-Lo is always at her optimum, and that's why I just want to commend you on your hair accessory.
So I said this to you earlier. I saw this picture at the Venice Film Festival. I'm like, she's 52 or something.
She looking fine.
And she had this kind of headband on. I was like, oh, I've got one of those.
What makes me mad about J-Lo, though, y'all, is that she claims to never have had any plastic surgery done, and it's a total lie, okay? That is not true.
She's had the best.
She's had the best plastic surgery. But the fact that celebrities do this a lot, they'll come out and say they haven't had any stuff done to their face. And I'm just like, you're a liar.
Yeah.
And it really conveys a false sense of perfectionism that isn't fair to other women, and also doesn't help them know, you know, what they might want to do to that if that's a priority. No judgment to anybody, right? But like lying to the public just for your own vanity is a disservice to other people, and that really makes me mad.
I've had nothing done. You know, and it bugs me even. I'm going to go further and say, you know, sometimes people, you know, they have access to vitamin IVs and the best laser facial, and it's like, it's not fair to be like, oh, I just woke up like this. Well, yeah,
trainers, Ruth,
$2,000.
have you ever had a trainer? I hired a trainer just for the last couple months. I have one more month left.
Oh, good.
And I've got to tell you, this is amazing. Having someone to come to your house and make you work out. I don't know how I'll do it by myself. It's just, I was like, this is your birthday. I got it as a birthday gift, 8 sessions. And I got another 8 for me just to kind of get me boosted. I'm like, I have more energy. I feel better about myself. I feel more confident. I just feel stronger. I could pick my kid up without, you know,
hurting your back.
But imagine having this like for years, and you know, no wonder they look good. They have people, so many people paid to make them look good. You can't help it.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think, and then you can't criticize someone for putting lipstick on or whatever. Like, you know, you're entitled to your lipstick or whatever you want that makes you feel better. Like, I don't have any criticism about what people do, but I think, more honesty.
More honesty about what it is, and also more realistic, like, you know, airbrushing everything. I just had my headshots done, and they were like, well, what do you want airbrushed? I'm like, nothing. I would like you to, you know, fix a couple hairs that are sticking out, but they're like, well, we can, you know, thin your nose. I'm like, no, that's my nose. If I go into a room and my nose is different, why would anybody want me?
No, I do my own makeup for those as well, because I'm like, that's what's going to happen on the day, and I want to look like me and walk in.
Yeah.
And Farah, have you ever met Farah Aviva? She's a Canadian actress. She's great, and she does really minimal stuff, and she just lights it so well in the first place. I love doing stuff.
I had some really great headshots done, and she did my makeup, but I specifically asked for really light makeup, and she did it pretty much how I would have done it, but better. But yeah, there's nothing worse than, I feel like, to me, like, especially as an actor, just show yourself, because the camera's going to see yourself anyway. Don't like lie to get it in the room, and then somebody's like, oh, you know what? They look way older, but I'm going to put them on screen. You're not going to do it. You're not going to. I promise you.
That's why we love Kate Winslet, you know, and Mayor. We just love how she just lets it all hang out.
Yeah.
And it's so real, and she's a beautiful woman, you know.
Well, yeah. I mean, but also, I don't know, you're from Europe, and I think in Europe there is a sort of like a category. Women can have a category of attractive that is older, but in America, we don't have that. We don't have that sort of like type, you know, like, I don't know if women are considered as attractive when they get older. There's a lack of transition into something other than the ingenue in America that European women seem to have.
Well, Europe, yes. I'm going to say, I just watched, not recently, but I watched during lockdown, Call My Agent, and the French, they admire their older actresses, they venerate them, and you live longer in societies where old age is cherished. You actually live longer because you're like, oh, there's something to live for. And I think there are places where, you know, it's a good thing, and we need to have more of that.
I feel like maybe we should all move to Japan when we get over 80, because it's like there's value in you, versus like, I'm gonna just house you until you die. That's a little depressing. So, Ruth, can you tell me about the movie that you were doing, or anything?
Yeah, I can. I'm allowed. I found out, I got a little email from Warner Brothers today, so I'm going to be in an episode of Doom Patrol.
What? Someone was asking about what can we expect for the night nurse in Doom Patrol. Is that the character you're playing? Or are you coming back?
Yeah, Night Nurse is the character, and Steve Yockey from Supernatural wrote the episode with Jeremy Carver, who was my first showrunner.
Mine too. Wait, Sarah Gamble was my first showrunner. He's amazing.
Isn't he the loveliest man? And it was the loveliest set, and it always trickles down from the top. It was the loveliest set. It was during real lockdown in Atlanta. It was bizarre, but the people, like, do you know April Bowlby and Diane Guerrero? They're the two lead women in the show. Oh my goodness, so lovely and kind and welcoming and warm, and all the people I work with, such a lovely experience.
Amazing.
And also running through the field and all that. And there's a little clip of me in the trailer for the season.
Did it just come out today?
It came out like last week, I think.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, I'm a little bit green in it.
I cannot wait. I did not see the trailer, but I've been wanting to watch that show. So how was filming during the deep of COVID?
So I think it's maybe a thing in Atlanta. Anyway, you have to hire a wee car. That means rent a vehicle in America. I realize I say that wrong all the time, but you have to drive yourself, and yeah, and just we had cones, like those dog collar cones on set, so that our makeup wasn't touched, and you had your little carry bag box. When you took your cone off, you put it in the box, and then somebody else would take it. So there's people whose entire jobs were just to take your cones on and off set.
Wow.
It was such a, it was a real palaver, and COVID tests up the nose every other day. And some people do it gently and some people don't. You are suffering for your art. But they did it, and they did it really safely and well. I think, they did really, really well. And the director was lovely, and
wow,
it was a fun
yeah, it must be
part.
hard, especially on a director, because you can't really get close to people. Everyone's kind of.
I said to him, right, I was like, because he had the mask on the whole time. He had glasses on too with side panels, like he was so protected. And I was like, I think you're like Stanley Tucci. Like, you sound a bit like Stanley Tucci, but I have no way of telling. Like, and I love Stanley Tucci. And he's like, because he kind of has something in the eyebrows about Stanley Tucci, and he took the rest of his mask out. He looks nothing like Stanley Tucci. He was like, in my head, I had created this like character for him, but he was a little bit like Stanley Tucci.
And did you ever see what he looked like underneath all that?
He showed me a bit, like for a minute, and put it back up just so that I would know what he actually looked like. And he was lovely. Chris Family, his name was, a lovely man. He worked on Mad Men and different things. He's a really good director.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, and just it was really fun, like to stand and act. And it was Steve wrote this with me in mind, and it's real fun. And yeah, I'm excited for people to see.
Okay, I'm gonna have to watch the show just to watch you in it, because I've heard so many wonderful things about it, and now I know Julie was in it, and other people. You know,
Julie's
I'm sure
so
I'll recognize
good
a lot
in
of good
it.
people.
You know, and Shepard is, Shepard. He's so charismatic in it. He's perfect in his part, and it's got a real heart. The show, it's based on, the stuff that the raw material that it's based on was so progressive when it was written, as you know, all that, it's good proper nerd that you are, all that stuff, and we're always later to the party in the mainstream, but it's beautiful messages in it, made with real heart. So it's lovely. I'm really proud to be a wee part of it.
That's really cool.
It's on the 23rd. I'm in episode 3 on the 23rd.
And then you're gonna be going to Memento Con this weekend.
And then off to
a lot of supernatural people are gonna be there, right? Rob said he was going, and
I think, yeah. It's a whole bunch of supernatural people. Elena's coming now. I think Jim Beaver. My mind's going blank now. Misha, I think. Sorry, my mind's going.
Misha. Sam Smith is coming with me to Dragon Con. So if you're in Atlanta, come see me and Sam. And if you're in the Northeast, wherever that is up there, go see everybody in is it Philadelphia or Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. Okay. And then you're going to, is Birmingham,
kind of England?
Birmingham, yeah. Is it Sean Harry's or
it's Star Fury. Star Fury. Yeah, I love Sean.
I love Sean too. Every time he comes to LA, we have a boba. Except last time I was so frazzled, we had coffee instead. And I feel like it was so bad. I was like, I'm so sorry this isn't a boba.
I've only really heard about boba in the last few months. Again, you're ahead of the curve with it last year with the boba. It's all the rage now.
It's all the rage. So I really want all the information. Then I have a couple questions before we leave. But I want to have any tips that you have for other people who are looking to kind of improve their health, or kind of what are your best tips for getting these things done that you know that you need to do, either getting in shape or quitting caffeine or quitting alcohol or any of this stuff? What are your best tips? Is it hypnosis tapes? Is that really the key, or what were your
commitment? It's commitment, and you have to give yourself every chance to succeed. And it takes a lot. You need to have some space. And honestly, the more I go into it, people talk about self-love and self-care, and I'm like, a bubble bath. It sounds a bit flimsy, but it really is like, if you were a plant, you wouldn't just shove whatever in the soil, And it's like, you just sort of learn to love yourself a little bit. That's my biggest tip. It's like talk to your sentient cells every morning. hello girls, or hello boys, and you'll feel something spark up.
Hey, Sal. Hey,
So this lady I work with, Marie Nemeth, she's a top coach, like she's a clinical psychologist and everything. She broke her arm, and it could have needed a surgery, and she just would talk to her arm. You're doing so well. And her arm did not need the surgery. And I'm like, come on, talk to your cells. That's my biggest. That's my hot tip.
I think what you also said is really important, to have a reason, because we all have these theoretical ideas like,
yeah,
oh yeah, I'd like to be, fit in a smaller pair of pants, or I really should give up. I mean, all of us would. Yeah. But or I need to give up caffeine. But like, what is your reason? So you really have to justify, like, why do you want to be more creative? Why do you want to be healthier?
Unfortunately, I think for human beings, and I know, like, sometimes you have to, it's the stick, not the carrot. I was like, oh, sometimes things have to go wrong before they go right. Mm-hmm. But hopefully, I'm in the green room, beside Matt Cohen. He's drinking some green thing, and I'm like, I wish I understood what that was. I would drink it. I just don't know what it is. And so it's a lot to educate yourself, and it's overwhelming. And I feel like, when I'm told to eat this for this, but don't eat that for that, and it's a lot of information.
Yeah.
So
it's really hard to make things simple for yourselves, especially in a complicated world.
Yeah. And I don't have the answers. I don't have the answers, and it's patience as well. But patience.
Especially for caffeine, you just feel like, I'm a little draggy today. I need caffeine to be my best here. That's where we rationalize it, right? Like, I'll just do this better if I have caffeine. But then the long term of it is, if you have the caffeine now, you're not going to sleep well. So that tomorrow you're not going to be your best. And then you'll have to have more caffeine. And it's this horrible slippery slope.
Yeah. And I think it affects different people differently, and people have different tolerances. And I think some people, there's nothing wrong with it. If it's what you love, you need to enjoy your life. It's what it depletes you of. And the cost for me was, it's too acidic and it's hurting me. And then marshmallow tea doesn't. And I drink, I can make it taste nice and treat myself. And after a while, you do realize how chemical the addiction is. It's not just psychological, it is chemical. Like the cravings and all that is deeply addictive.
The craving. Oh, well, sugar is the worst for me. Like, if I see sugar, it's like, and of course, my daughter's the same way. Like, she only eats icing. If she has a piece of cake, it's just like peel. And I'm like, oh, she got that for me, because of course, if I go out and I realize that I'm not being a good parent, and that I see a cupcake and I want it for myself, but I'll buy her one. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm getting her a treat because I want to buy that cupcake, but I don't want to eat it. So I'm feeding my daughter poison. It's okay.
Some cupcakes are good for the soul. I mean,
they are occasionally. So we have a couple questions I would love to get to. Ruth, do you speak or understand any Scottish Gaelic?
Gosh.
You don't have to.
No, I've said a few bits in a few plays. It's which are all flown out of my head right now. And I understand Scots. Like, I don't know what the words are, but I just know what somebody's saying to me. Like, it was skirling down the brae. And I'm like, I know that he was like belting down the hill. Like, that's not Gaelic, that's Scots. So I get Scots. Gaelic, I do know a few words, but not. I'm sorry. I feel.
Do people speak? I didn't even know there was a different language, Scots.
Yeah, Gaelic. Yeah, and all the islands and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, we speak English the way we are. I love accents and stuff, and we speak English in a Scottish accent with a tight jaw, because we were forced to, and we got taught it by reading, so we say all the letters. That's why our accent is the way it is. It's why we don't sound English. It was just totally different anthropology, because I'm not afraid of being heard. Like, there's huge distinctions within that, but Scottish people sound the way they are because of the way they were made to speak English.
I want to hear you speak to me all day. Like, a lot of women or people on Twitch do ASMR, and they just speak softly into the mic. Can you just start doing that, Ruth? Because you are delightful to listen to.
With my husky voice, I can do that. I can do that, no problem.
You realize you could do that 2 hours a night and probably just quit your job.
Really? Oh my gosh, show me your ways.
Everybody is loving it. What is your favorite project outside of Supernatural? I would love to hear this, Ruth, because I don't know as much about what you've done outside of Supernatural, because we've always been supernatural buddies. I mean, I think that y'all probably would know the guild for me, but what about you?
Yeah. You know, I've done so many plays that were just so changed my life. And I sort of fall in love with most of the parts that I get to play. I really love this night nurse character. She's super fun. I'm trying to think. One of my favorite experiences was Mrs. Beaver, playing Mrs. Beaver in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and I did not expect it to be such fun. I didn't have any. I loved The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe growing up. Although I was always confused about why Aslan could fix things. Like, I didn't totally get the metaphor. Like, I questioned the metaphor. But anyway, and so got asked to play Mrs. Beaver, and I had a bit of a fat suit, and my partner had been in Cats, so he could really sing, and I had to try and sing with him, David, and got to roll about and dance a little bit as a beaver. And I just loved it. I gave her a wooden spoon, and I spanked their bottoms when they were naughty with a wooden spoon. And sometimes it's just like the most fun you can have as an adult in a fat costume, like rolling about.
And where was this? When did you do this play?
That was at the Royal Lyceum in Edinburgh, probably about a decade ago, or maybe even longer.
Wow. Now. Was it at the Fringe Fest, or was it just in Edinburgh?
It was the main stage, the Lyceum, which is one of our beautiful chocolate box theatres, one of the oldest theatres. And I did Faust there. That was a big experience. I was naked on stage. And I did The Merchant of Venice, and I loved it. Yeah, I've got so many fond memories of all the plays that I've done, really, that obviously nobody will see on screen.
I know, it's really frustrating as an actor in LA. I was just thinking about this because my love of acting has waned lately, and I'm like, what would re-spark it? Not really going on auditions, maybe not even working on a set, because it's so much pressure and there's so much going on. It's really not about the acting sometimes. It really is about the acting at the end of the day, but it doesn't feel like it when you're on a set, and it's really hard to get in that zone of like, this is about the acting, because it's all about where you're stepping.
Getting it done.
Getting it done. You got to get it done. And if you take more than one take, people will get irritated at you because they spent 2 hours lighting it to make you look pretty, and they just want you to get the words
and they
out,
can't
right?
Spend more than 30 seconds redoing it. I know.
No, they can't give you another take because, God forbid, which is really upsetting because it's not about the art form at all. And I was just thinking, boy, wouldn't it be wonderful to do a play? Because that's why I wanted to do this. I wanted to do this in the first place. But can you imagine doing a play in LA? A, nobody would come. B, the minute you got a job, you'd have to drop it, which would inevitably happen the minute you did a play.
Yeah, I know. Emily Swallow does it. She somehow combines them. And I did a play here that I loved. I played Captain Hook, which was so much fun. I played Mrs. Darling, and it was a real new adaptation, a real modern twist, more like the real story of J.M. Barrie, whose mother had issues and blah, blah, blah. So Mrs. Darling, loses the baby Michael and turns into Captain Hook.
Wow.
So, and that was so much fun. And it was a 99-seat theatre. Michael Matthews directed it, and two of my dearest friends are still my dearest friends. My friend H. Alberto, who's directing a movie with Lin-Manuel Miranda soon, and my friend Elle, who's the lead in Bad Hair. And we just met. We were the understudies, actually, in this little play 7 years ago. And that's the thing about theatre. It's such a beautiful way of having community.
You do. You meet friends for life when you do things like that. You
really do. You do live improv and all that. That's a theatre of a kind.
We did. Yeah, we used to. It's just, COVID has obviously put a little damper in it. And I think it's always good to challenge yourself. And if you are getting tired with your art form, just do it in a different way. So you always inspire me because I feel like you're always artistically putting your voice into the world, as an actor. I think that's really admirable.
I want to. I'm such a student of it because I came to it later because I was a dancer first, and I still feel like I'm catching up. You know what I mean? Like,
is there a dream role that you have, like Ibsen or?
I've tried that and it never worked. I've always been surprised by what I've been asked to do, and I tried to go like, what would I? And the only one I thought at the time was Ophelia, and I just missed that boat age-wise, pretty much.
Yeah. I've always wanted to play Laura in Glass Menagerie. I think I did it in Scene Study.
Me too.
But I was always like, but now I'm too old.
me too. And I have, my story, that was one of my first workshops I ever did with Warren Robertson, who had met Tennessee Williams, right? This is in Scottish Actor Studio. And I was just like, anyway, this lady I was working with, this older actress at the time, she's supposed to slap me, and I just been a passing comment. I said, I've never actually been slapped.
Mm-hmm.
And we were rehearsing. She slapped me really hard. It really stings. Let me tell you, when somebody really slaps you.
That is not cool.
She was giving me the method experience of it or something. And it really hurt. And you realize, like, you know, your reactions to things are really big sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, you don't just slap and go, oh, you're like, ow.
It's really funny because I was reading a book by Malcolm Gladwell.
Oh, yeah.
About strangers and how we communicate with each other and how we're quite terrible at reading other people when we think that we're good. Yeah. And one of them, there was a study about how people, if you're on a sitcom and you go, whoa, you know, you are quite like, they're just very large, you know, but they did like this study where people would walk in from another room and see their best friend, which they didn't expect there. And they filmed the people. And then they showed those people's faces to other people to see, are they, what do you feel they're feeling right now? It was like 30% of them got it right because they didn't look, the surprise that people felt.
Yeah.
It doesn't read like what our shorthand is. And so it's kind of interesting that as actors, we kind of adopt these facial expressions and way of conveying our feelings in a way that might actually not be organic to who we are as people.
And that's what the trick as an actor is, to somehow, especially I think maybe on a film where you have time, but to actually be in the moment enough that you're not manufacturing it in any way, shape, or form, and something strange happens, and then it's great. Something, you make a funny noise, or and the real whatever would happen happens. But that's like liquid gold, right?
That's the gold. And really it does, you're right. Like on a film, when, you know, my friend Morena Baccarat, she was like in that movie she did, I forget what is Deadpool. They did one scene for like 3 days and it was just for 2 people. And like she said they were like 80, 90 takes. I was like, how do you do that? It's just, that sounds awful. And she's like, you know, it is awful. And then it gets wonderful because you start surprising yourself. And then you get bored again. And then you do another 10 and you do something that completely surprises you. And you're just like, oh, that's acting.
And that's a play. And that's like, if you do 3 months of a play, what you end up with is completely different. And sometimes what you started with was really cool in its own way, but you can end up with something completely different. And that's the lightning in a bottle you want to get.
Yeah. I mean, that's when because in a play also, I feel like if you are just focused on doing, you know, reading and not stopping and starting every 5 minutes or 2 minutes anyway, because you can really get in the zone of forgetting who you are, who you, and your emotions are more organic to where, because you're a person doing a role versus like, oh, this scene is 2 pages long and I need to walk here and pick up this glass. And, you know, it really is a sort of manufactured way of doing something. And that's why great acting on film really is phenomenal, right?
It is. And it's so hard to do, actually.
Yeah.
And they make it, the people like Anthony Hopkins and the father.
Oh my God. He was, I've never seen better acting in my life.
I know. That bit when he's furious, when he gets really angry, that bit as well, when he's furious.
The last scene, sobbing. The last of him in that, oh my gosh. Very, very, very worth seeing. And I hear that he reads, as homework, he basically just reads the script over and over and over and over and over.
He's a workhorse.
A
workhorse. I follow him on Instagram. He seems like a wonderful man. He's a composer as well, self-taught, I think. Self-taught.
I had no idea.
He's written a symphony that's been played by an orchestra.
Wow.
It's creative. Amazing.
Yeah, well, we need to get on it.
It's so amazing. I know. That's what, you know, I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Like, there's so many things that, you know, I still can't play piano.
No, you do what you need to do, Ruth. You inspire people. I urge anybody who has the opportunity to see Ruth in person. She has such a sylph-like spirit. Somebody said Tatiana from Shakespeare. Like, you really should play Tatiana.
I did.
Really you did?
I produced it when I cast myself. So
of course. But you are a fair, and also you just have this wonderful spirit that makes people feel just like they're in gentle, beautiful arms. And also start that ASMR thing because people really want to hear you.
I wish I knew how. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Ruth, I hope your voice recovers enough for this weekend. Thank you for coming to my podcast. You are truly a wonderful person, and I cannot wait to hug you in person
Yes,
safely when
you
we
too,
can finally
darling.
do
Look
that.
forward to it. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Y'all, I'm going to take a pause and put my baby to bed, and then I will be back in about 30 minutes to do a little bit of video gaming with you. I am going out of town this week, and I really want to put her to bed. So I will see you shortly. Okay. Bye, everybody.
That was fun.